Hey everyone, hope you've been doing well. It's been a weird time since I've last posted a video on the channel. Well, as you know, there's a global pandemic going on. It's still going on. I don't know when this thing's going to wrap up, but a lot of things have been keeping me busy otherwise, and I apologize for that. I have been working on some new ideas and content for the near future. By the end of this month, Flix and Joystix will be turning 2, so I've got a couple things planned for that. So there are things in the work. It's just been super quiet because the world is super weird right now. So here we are. In any case, I wanted to do a live video today because I got something really cool in the mail I've been waiting for a while. And it makes sense that I talk about the pandemic because one of those great and many things about our whole world being kind of thrown up in arms. This originally was supposed to come out in March. Because of the weird state of the world, it got delayed until I got it in the mail yesterday. And that would be the Turbografx-16 mini system. I finally got it. I pre-ordered this quite some time ago, last year actually, and it finally came in and I've been waiting for it. So as you can see, this is probably one of the last of the great 16-bit war systems. There's the Super Nintendo Classic and the Sega Genesis Mini, and of course there's the NES Mini. And they did a nice cover job on what this looks like, so they really recreated that whole feel. You know, it's funny, I never actually had a Turbografx-16. You know, of course everything back then was the 8-bit NES. And then most people I knew were Genesis, but you always had that one friend. They always had that one friend who had like the one weird outstanding system. Like I was that one friend who had an Atari Jaguar. I was the only one who had it. But I had a friend who had one of these. And I always thought it was really cool and stand out because of games like Splatterhouse and Bonk's Adventure and things like that. Splatterhouse was back then, I mean, it's tame and cute now, but back then, it was kind of mind-blowing how gory it was. I mean, Mortal Kombat was still relatively new, so bloody games were still kind of a novel concept back then. That's one of those games that I'm super glad they added on here because I don't really think you can pull this system off as well without Splatterhouse, so it's definitely on there. And they've got a couple really interesting choices on here. They've got some really good ones. They've made some odd ones. They have a couple missing ones, I think, that would have really benefited the system. And this was actually, you can only order this from Amazon. I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. Maybe they just didn't think there was a big enough market for, say, like a Nintendo or a Sega system. And overall, let me show you the back. You can see a number of games. What's interesting about this is there's a bunch of the American Turbografx-16 games, a bunch of PC Engine games, and a couple Super Graphics games. I think maybe at best they had like 4 games on the Super Graphics. It was one of those great add-ons that just never really amounted to anything. A couple really unique choices on this. Some I'm super excited to play. I didn't really get my chance to play Turbografx-16. Again, I was a Nintendo and Sega guy. I didn't really get my chance to play Turbografx-16 until the Wii. And back when Virtual Console was an active thing on that system, they actually released a pretty fair amount of Turbografx games on there. And I got a chance to really sit down and see what made the system so special outside of Splatterhouse and Bonk and Keith Courage. So it was really, really cool. Now this, I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. As I said, this was an Amazon exclusive. I have to admit, as a collector, I'm a little salty. Amazon, for whatever reason, whenever they ship small media, be it like video games or Blu-ray or books or even just little things, they don't box this stuff. I don't know why a multi-billion-dollar company cheats out on its packaging, but they toss these things in basically non-padded paper bags and shove them over to you. And this is not the first time I've gotten damage on something I've ordered from them, and it will probably not be the last. If there had been any other option, I would have gone like a Best Buy or whatever. I probably would have gone to that. But Amazon is likely going to just chuck this in a Ziploc bag, so to speak, like one of those self-sealing envelopes that's not even padded, and send it to you. And I was like, oh, I wonder if it, and I looked in the bag. I was like, because I knew. Even before I opened it, I knew. But yeah, that's my big thing. You're stuck with Amazon if you're going to get it, and you're stuck with their unique shipping practices. I guess is the kindest way to put that. Never mind that. The system, I'm sure, is fine. So let's take a look at it. As I said, the box overall is really cool. I mean, it's even got like that old, the next video game generation. I mean, that's 90s, 80s is everything. And I remember back when my friend had a Turbografx. He had gotten like this little side promo thing that they'd probably show like at a KB or a Toys R Us or what have you. And it was like showing off all the upcoming games for the Turbografx-16 and why it was going to be amazing. And of course, you know, the kids are, this box, why the kids are, you know, cautiously exploring this and how it was going to be cool. I do remember at the end of the video, they showed a bunch of stuff that was only ever going to come out in Japan. Like they had one, you know, Turbo CD music game called No Rico. I think I've seen it on YouTube. It looked like kind of like a weird thing where you could kind of go around this Japanese J-pop star's life and find out her interests. I mean, I can't read Japanese. That's an unfortunate thing, especially for this, because there are a lot of Japanese games on this that I'm probably not going to be able to play because I just don't understand kanji, and that's, you know, unfortunate. Here is the Turbografx manual. It doesn't look too terribly. Let's see if we got anything special in here, you know, like cool illustrations or anything. No, it's pretty much text. You know how these instruction manuals go. It'll be presented in English and a couple other languages. Pick the one that suits best for you. So here's what you get. And let's see. Here is the controller. Let's see what we got. Okay, let me see how this looks. Okay, this feels pretty good. It's even got like the little turbo buttons, which I always thought was a cool thing because this was basically, let me get my giant fingers out of the way. But this is basically what the Turbo Pro Pad looks like. Very similar in style to the NES pad, except that you had turbo. Instead of start, you had run. And then, of course, you know, the buttons feel really good. The D-pad, actually, this feels really nice. This feels exactly what I remember. On the back, it says Konami because Konami purchased all the Hudson assets way back when. Yeah, this is Konami actually getting back into the video game biz after a while. They periodically put out a game, but, you know, any gamer knows that they've basically gone to pachinko and all the great games that they were known for like the Metal Gears and Castlevanias. You see them sporadically, but I do miss Konami as a video game company versus pachinko. Okay, you get the HD cord. Let's see, here's the HD cord. Obviously not too terribly thrilling. You know what those are. Here is the power cord. Much like the Sega Genesis Mini, they cheaped out and they didn't put the AC adapter. I mean, granted, AC adapters aren't that hard to find. I bought one for my Sega Genesis Mini, and yeah, you just don't get one. It kind of sucks. This thing costs $99.99 in retail, and I just wish they had just thrown in that one extra part because I'm just going to use the one for my Sega Genesis Mini until I go out and buy one. Yeah, you know, going to stores right now is still kind of a hit and miss sort of thing, so it's not as easy as it used to be back in the time when the Genesis Mini came out last fall, the before times. What a world. So let's get down to the heart of it. Here we are. Okay, so this is obviously bigger than the NES Classic or the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. Those are little tiny wee things, and this is kind of close to the original Turbografx side. I mean, here's where the hue cards would go, and almost looks like you could fit one in there. I know this is a little smaller, but the overall, and of course the USB, Turbografx was actually a one controller thing, but you had to get the turbo tap. So they've done two. I didn't get the second controller because most games are designed. Let's see if I can not break this. So, okay. So this is another little accurate. This is where the AC adapter goes. You put all these cords in. So it's kind of cool. You know, this is where the turbo CD would go. It would help if I actually put that on the correct way. But yeah, I mean, it feels good. It feels nice. I mean, this is another quality system, and part of the appeal of these little mini game systems is I like seeing these on my shelf, just kind of like the old the old days, and I don't have to deal with cartridges or CDs or anything, because this is not only the Turbografx-16, this is the Turbo CD, and the Super Graphics, again, had like 4 games. So let's talk about a couple of the games while I'm holding this. Overall, I think they did a really good job of putting a lot of the games on here. They made some weird choices about this, though. I don't know why they didn't put Legendary Axe. That just seems like a given that they would put that. That was probably the most standout of everything listed on here, because you have your Alien Crush, but it doesn't have Devil's Crush. They have Ys Book 1 and 2, which I think was a great Turbo CD game. Space Harrier, which I like. I like Space Harrier. Anything Splatterhouse, of course, is a need. Ninja Spirit, Dungeon Explorer, that had some great music on that. Blazing Lasers Turbografx was more a shooter system than anything else, but they still have some really cool games. Keith Courage and Alpha Zone is another one I was sorry not to see on there. From what I understand, Keith Courage was kind of Americanized, adapted for, it was based off like some sort of anime, and I think some of the characters were still sort of the same, even though Keith Courage himself was sort of modernized for the American audiences. So it wasn't licensed, but it wasn't officially converted, like fully converted over all the way. So it led to some odd things, and obviously we didn't get it, which is too bad. I think Devil's Crush, Keith Courage, and Legendary Axe 1 and 2 would have been great additions to this, and I think those are probably the more sore spots. However, you get Castlevania Rondo of Blood. You get the Japanese version of Bonk's Adventure, but you get the American version of Bonk's Revenge. That doesn't make any sense to me, but, you know, I didn't design this. One of the biggest tragedies, I think, is that they did put Snatcher on there. And I remember always hearing about what a great game that was by Hideo Kojima. And, yeah, they put it on here, but again, I don't read Japanese, so it's not really going to do me any good, and it's a shame because I've heard it's such a great game and I wanted to check it out. I may just look at it to see what it's like, but I'm probably not going to be able to progress too far unless I have like a walkthrough, and that's not fun. But, you know, I'll probably check it out and say, oh yeah, well, it's there. Maybe I'll have a Japanese speaking friend that can help guide me through it and tell me what's going on. They do have the Japanese version of Ninja Gaiden, which I know has some really weird music. Weirdly enough, I know the PC Engine got a version of Batman from Sunsoft, but America did not back in the day, which I always thought was such a weird choice. I know they have Gradius, which is a great shooter. They have a couple duplicates, like Dungeon Explorer, Ys Book 1 and 2. There were a couple other. There's enough to notice that it's like I kind of would have rather seen like the Legendary Axe replaced, or you know, some of those other games. There's some odd choices on this, along with some really good ones. They have the Super Graphics version of Ghouls and Ghosts, which, you know, you're not going to get really anywhere else. So, and a bunch of really unique shooter games. And let's see, they have Cho Anaki, which I've heard is a pretty wacky, somewhat exotic game, and I've seen screenshots of it. So, you know, it's one of those weird Japanese games that's kind of like, what? But I think it's cool that they put it on there, because I think a lot of the Japanese style that really made up the 8-bit and 16-bit era that made it so special, I think a lot of that is lost today. So it's kind of fun to go back and revisit it, especially for, you know, people who ran through the first time, but then even some of the younger gamers who've just never seen anything like this. And I think this is a great chance for you to check these out. So overall, there's a lot of really, really cool games. I'm really excited with seeing everything, and I'm more pleased with the options that they have than what they don't. The emulation's done by M2, which is responsible for the Sega Genesis Mini, which I thought was excellent, and a lot of the Sega Ages games, which I also thought was excellent. For those that just came into the channel, here's what the system looks like. As I said, $99, a little bit more expensive than the Nintendo and the Sega Fair. You're only going to be able to get it to Amazon, so you're going to have to deal with their questionable shipping practices, which are unfortunately not that great. You're going to get some duplicates. You're going to get some games that if you don't understand Japanese, you're just kind of out of luck on that. You're not going to get an AC adapter, which are easily found, but you know, it's a shame that they just, I would have paid like $5 more to actually have one in there. So overall, it looks really good. I may have to do a follow-up review on, what I think of it, because I want to play it today, because I'm surprised this video has actually gone as well as it has, in the sense of it's actually thundering out there, so that normally means power outage. So I wanted to kind of get this done before that kicks in. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually working on finishing my personal studio up. It just takes forever. There's been so much work lately, and then just the world's been weird, so I've been trying to manage time with that. That is the official hand-waving time management symbol, I guess. And I'm working on a couple things because, as I did say, I'm getting ready for my 2nd-year anniversary at the end of the month, May 31st. So I'll be doing a live show then. And I'm working on a series of like reviewing 3 movies in a row, like maybe sets. I'm kind of playing with the idea of calling it 3 for Madness. So a little bit of cult fun there. And I've got 3 ideas planned. So I'll be working on that. And then as I go on, I'm just, I wanted to kind of share the spontaneity and the excitement of checking out an unboxing. I think it's great doing unboxing videos, and I appreciate those who surprisingly have a lot of interest in unboxing videos on my channel. So thank you. But I kind of wanted to, there's the thunder. There you go. But I kind of wanted to share the spontaneity and not make it feel like it's so staged. So there you are. Well, anyway, thank you so much. I apologize for being away from the channel for as long as I have. I didn't mean to, just things have gotten weird. I am planning to make up for it and add small new things, so hang with me. I've got some new ideas. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to sharing some new movies and things like that. So until then, I will see you next time. Take care, you guys.